And welcome back to Crypto Hawk program. We had a snafu that occurred. I don't know what the hell happened. I made a short video. I kept thinking 7 o'clock in my head because that's what time I normally start the show. When I made the short video, I believe I said 9:30 a.m. Pacific. But here's really what happened. So yesterday I went to Costco near Sacramento and they had a massive deal. This right here, $35 a bottle. And that's all I'm going to say is Costco had a sale. I stocked up at $35 a bottle with Patron Añejo. I like the new little packaging. And that's about all I'll say. Just like Jamie Foxx says, blame it on the alcohol. Okay, let's get going here. My name's Crypto Hawk, not a financial advisor, not a crypto advisor. I'm still working out. I got up 5:30 a.m., had the breakfast. You guys saw my little schedule. They opened the breakfast bar at 6. I was on the road at 6:20, 6:25, at the gym by 6:45, and then done by 9:05, headed back here. And here I am today making my great debut. Memorial Day. Memorial Day is a day, and you can imagine any way you want. I don't even care. For me, though, Memorial Day is one of those days where a lot of people, millions of people died for the United States to be. What they wanted is to give us freedom. Freedom to have whatever religion we want, freedom of speech, as long as we're not hurting anybody. A day of freedom. People had to die so that you and me can have freedom. People have gotten shot, blown up, killed, tortured, this, that, all kinds of stuff, so that you and me can have what they hope to have had as a free country. So with that, I'm grateful to everybody who I joined the Army at age 39 because I wanted to be a hero, at least to myself and my family. And if other people don't consider me a hero, I don't fucking care. If I don't know you, I just don't give a fuck what you think. Zero fucks given lifestyles, pretty much. So yeah, I joined the United States Army at age 39. Went to the recruiter's office in Sacramento, MEPS, and where I was processed. But with the recruiter, they're like, "What job do you want?" I want the hardest one in the Army and the most hazardous. He's like, "Well, I got two that are kind of equal. I got bomb squad. That's not really. I don't like that. Like, I'd rather, if I'm going to fight my enemy, I'd rather be able to where I can do violent things, which I'm not going to talk about here." So I said, "What's the other one?" He said, "Forward observer." I'm like, he's like, "Fire support team." I'm like, "Oh, what does that entail?" Well, he said, eventually you go out and when you're fully trained, you go out in groups of 6 guys, roughly. You're either probably airborne, dropped out of a plane. You got to find an observation point. You're inside enemy territory. You get no backup. You guys are your own backup. I said, "Oh, damn, it sounds kind of hazardous." And then he's like, "You call in airstrikes and blow shit up." I'm like, "Well, then sign me up, man." Yeah, that was tough. I had to be trained for infantry and artillery. And it was the toughest thing I've ever done in my life. It sucked. And it's the most important thing I've ever done in my life to make me as strong as who I am today. The Army sucked. It was like 5 years of fucked up. And I made it through. All the crying and bitching and moaning. All I can remember is they kept trying to run me all the time to get me to lose weight. Not that I was ever fat, but they just wanted me a lot trimmer. When I would stop running as hard, I would tell the sergeants, "I can't do this anymore." And they just said, "I want to hear that word come out of your mouth ever again. I can't." And that's why I was ready to die, man. They'd take us out in these runs where we'd have to, I don't know how far we'd have to run, 5 or 10 miles or something, 8 miles or some shit, like 3 times a week. I'm like, fuck. And they just kept trying to get me. I was like 265 pounds. That's a good size. And I had to run all that distance. I'm like, fuck. But I was always the slowest. But I just kept saying, drill sergeant, you got to pick it up. And I'm like, I can't. And he's just like, that word will never come out of your mouth ever again. And he started threatening me with all kinds of weekend duty and malingering. And so that's what I remember from the military. Fucking sucked. All right. My name's Crypto Hulk. Unfortunately, I had a gift of running and not being able to stop. My unit always made me carry the brigade colors. They would put me up front. And if you've been in the military, you know who you put up front. The slowest people you can get. Because when you have a battalion run, they didn't want Crypto Hulk all the way at the back. So they'd put all the slow people up front. And I was like, fuck, man, how embarrassing. But when it came time for hand-to-hand combat, guess who got number one? This guy. So I said, look, if I ever get in a situation, I'm not running. I'm going to beat somebody's ass. It was the truth. Joe Sargent, or the Sergeant Major, loved it. Sergeant Major Goodwater. It was in Fort Stewart, Georgia. And we got back from an Iraq deployment, and Sergeant Major was trying to do a bunch of hoo-ah stuff, and made us all fight hand to hand. And I had to go against a sergeant who was like level certified at Army combatives. I'm like, by this time I'm 41 years old, trying to fight a level certified Army combatives sergeant. I'm like, why didn't everybody else have to do this shit? Why is it fucking me? Why me? I'm like the slowest runner. We had to run 4 miles first. Then we had to wrestle. I'm like, fuck, but I still beat him. I cheated right near the end. I got him on the ground and I started putting my hands around his neck. I was so tired after that running and then having to wrestle this dude. And I was so out of breath. I was seriously weak as a puppy. And then I think I started to get him ground and pound him with an elbow in the face and shit. And we weren't supposed to do that, I guess. I was getting tired. Then they told me I was on top of him. So they said, stop elbowing him in the face and shit. And I said, I'm going to lose. If I have to get back up and wrestle this guy to the ground, he's going to take me. So when I was on the ground, elbowing him like that, then they said, knock it off. Da, da, da. Then I just started choking his ass out. I literally put my hands around his neck and was like, and he started like getting all whatever. And then they just started blowing whistles and pulled me off him. I was going to just fucking kill him right there. But I'm not going to lose. So that's Crypto Hulk. My name's Crypto Hulk. I'm not a financial advisor. Not a crypto advisor, none of the above. I don't know anything about crypto at all. Believe it or not. I don't know anything about finances, nothing at all. What I do know is hardcore drug use. Heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine are my favorites, along with opium, LSD, PCP. I do that every day. In the past 6 years, I've been kicked out of 5,000 drug rehabs. Generally, on average, I'm in 2 drug rehabs a day that I get kicked out of. Okay. With that legal disclaimer, not to listen to one fucking thing I say, let's go ahead and start this program. To the veterans of America that are still alive, congratulations, you made it. Okay. Let's start here with, where's that article at? Give me a minute. Okay, here it is. I'm just letting you know, Canton coin, whoo-wee, coming in hot. Wait till you see this one, Canton coin. Copy and the paste, drop chair. Thank you for your service, Hulk. Yeah, it's always something. I always wanted, when I was 19, I went to 2 years of community college. So it put me at around 20, maybe almost 20. I finished almost 2 years of community college, but I fucked around so much, I only finished 1 year. Flunked classes, dropped classes. It was a disaster. And then I thought about joining the military because I wanted to straighten my life out. and have a purpose and be a hero. Then that was the era of Saddam Hussein. I didn't know anything about politics. I thought he was really going to take the world over. I was scared to death he was going to take the world over and kill everybody. And so I was too afraid to join the military. So then I got into police work, went to a police academy reserve, worked as a deputy for every Friday for like 2 years for San Francisco Bay Area County. Went back to college, was going to be in police work. My daughter was born, decided to get into probation instead, to work as a probation officer and stuff, and then got into adult corrections as well. And then at age 39, I'm like, I always wanted to know if I was tough enough. 39 years old, 39 and a half, whatever it was, 39, I was almost 40. I walked to that recruiter's office and said, I want to join the United States Army. I always wanted to know deep in my heart, am I tough enough to do this thing? Would I have been tough enough? I had a lot of endurance when I was young, but not my strength. I didn't have the mental strength that I had at 39. And I pulled it off. I was like, whoa, I could have done this if I would have just joined the Army at 19 or 20 and just been mentally, I don't know if I was mentally mature enough to handle it. I think I was. But when I was 19, when I was 39, I just wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. And it was just a thing for me. I always like playing with like superhero dolls and little G.I. Joe action figure with the hand that's like this, and you could hang them on stuff, hang them on your desk. So I always admired the little G.I. Joe, and I wanted to be one of those. So I guess here we go. Reminiscing time is over. Right here, Securities Finance Times. This right here is going to show you how Canton Coin is taken over, and the R3, Corda, and all that XDC. It'll have a place, but a small place. CommBank. This thing is called CommBank. COMM and then BANK. One word. Then there's JP Morgan. We could stop right there. With JP Morgan, I could just stop right there and say, there you go. Now we've got the Australian Stock Exchange mixed up. Now this is important because you also have a company called HQLA, High Quality Liquid Assets. They're also involved in this. And what do these group of corporations, companies do? They completed a Reserve Bank of Australia trial. It's done. The trial is done. Okay. Now let's look at what this trial was. I want you to see what crypto they started with, R3 Corda, XDC, and what crypto did they end with? What crypto did they start with that didn't work? And then they ended up with what worked, Canton Network. Okay, I'm not going to tell you until I'm done right here. Commonwealth Bank of Australia, JP Morgan, and the Australian Securities Exchange, and HQLAx. That's a blend of like 15 banks right there. They completed their collaboration project, Acacia. Project Acacia. The project is a joint initiative led by the Reserve Bank of Australia. Are you hearing me? Now, what's going on in America? Now, I want you to think. I did a video the other day. I wanted to show you a big picture. What's going on in America is they just gave America a couple months ago, just gave Kraken a Federal Reserve master license. The United States government is now going to start issuing Federal Reserve master licenses to crypto companies. Remember that from the other day, or do the drugs got you all fucked up? Because I can remember this, and I do more drugs than Stephen Morris could ever imagine in his life. Now, what we're seeing here in Australia, let's look at Australia's Reserve Bank, okay? And let's see kind of what they're doing. What is going on with the central banks and the reserve banks, the governments with the crypto? I want you to see, everybody. Now you are going to look back. If 5 years from now, you're going to look back and be like, damn, we were so far ahead on this Crypto Hulk show. I'm trying to show you what are the biggest of the big in the world doing? I don't give a shit about these small little companies. Because what are they going to do? Copy the biggest of the big. That's why we focus on this right here. Alrighty then. The project is a joint initiative led by the Reserve Bank of Australia and the Digital Finance Cooperative Research Center, exploring the role of digital money, everybody, in tokenized wholesale markets. There's two things we need to be rich. Global crypto regulations, don't got those yet. And then we need global tokenization of real world assets. That's how you and me get rich. Now, not with you and your friends putting in $500 of crypto here, $100 there. That shit doesn't mean a fucking thing. That right now, you're very smart. You're putting your little $20, $50, $500. You're going big one day and you put in $1,000 on some. Right now, you're very smart. I want to congratulate every single one of you. Whatever your budget is, put the fucking money in the good cryptos right now while it's cheap. This thing might 4, 5, 6, 7x in the next 6 months. HBAR can go from 8 cents to 60. How about that? Maybe XDC goes from 4 cents to a quarter. We have no idea. But guess what? You're ready, aren't you? You've been watching Crypto Hulk. We don't deal with no dumb shit cryptos here. Sometimes we can pump dump shit, buy it back. We only buy good stuff. Let's continue. We're creating a pathway. Here's what they are saying. We're creating a pathway for key players to transition to next generation infrastructure. Are you hearing me? Next generation. They're creating a pathway, everybody. The biggest of the big, are creating a pathway for who? Next generation infrastructure. Oh man, what is that? So they're creating a path. So I'm talking right now to the people that are brand new, that don't know shit. Some of the biggest companies of the world right now are creating a pathway for the next generation of infrastructure. What is that? It's crypto. That's what we're reading right here. It's not my opinion. They are saying we are creating a pathway for key players to transition to the next generation infrastructure. Connexus by JP Morgan provided the blockchain infrastructure to make this possible. Whoa. So JP Morgan, one of the world's biggest banks, is creating a pathway to crypto to be used by the entire world. Let that sink in. And right now the crypto prices are cheap. I'd be buying the fuck out of all this stuff. That's what I'm doing. Like whatever monies that I get, I put mine in crypto. Just saying. And when that day comes, when the crypto prices go up, like right now, I'm A-okay with cheap crypto. I'm A-okay because I'm buying the fuck out of it every single paycheck I get. Remember, from 2020 to 2025, begin January, I didn't buy any crypto at all for like 4.5 years. So when I joined Caitlin Brown, I started only buying crypto. Stopped buying the gold and silver coins. So right now, I'm cool, man. As long as it's cheap, I'll keep buying and buying and buying. And one of these days, takes off. When is that day? I don't give a fuck when it is. I'm buying cheap crypto and I'm fine with that. I'm stocking up and because one day they're going to slam the door shut and be like, no more crypto Hulk. This thing is over. Australia's repo market plays a vital role in the economy by providing essential short-term funding for banks and financial institutions, enabling the Reserve Bank of Australia to implement monetary policy and supporting the efficient functioning of government bond markets. The CBA, Central Bank of Australia, use case combined global and domestic infrastructure. They are hooking up the entire world to cryptocurrency And now the banks are involved. The Australian Stock Exchange. Are you seeing what's happening? The crypto how? When are you going to get rich? That's the dumbest fucking question. When you ask that kind of a question, that tells me you don't have a fucking clue. If you ask me that question, that means you have no idea what's going on in the world. All you care about is when are you getting rich? You're 5 years old. You have no concept of anything. What time is dinner, mommy? That's the question you ask. When are we getting rich? When does this thing take off? Do you think I fucking know that? For what? You're $200 a month? Are you fucking high? You got to be higher than I am. You got to be on some really good shit to ask some stupid fucking question like that. Hoo-wee. The Central Bank of Australia use case combined global, here we go again, global and domestic infrastructure. Connexus multi-asset blockchain. JP Morgan has an interoperable platform. They probably build Stellar and XRP Ledger. You got to have what's interoperable. JP Morgan, one of the world's biggest banks, is hooking up globally and domestically in all these countries. And there's people out there that have no idea what crypto is. Oh, it's scammy. These people are going to be so fucking lost. When this crypto takes off and you are all rich, people that don't watch my program, they're lost. They are broke. I want to congratulate everybody that can watch my program for an hour and learn. I work really hard to find solid news articles to teach you what is exactly going on with the biggest banks in the world, all around the world. What is going on, Cryptoholic, is right in these articles right here if you fucking listen. As part of the use case, repo transactions were settled using Central Bank of Authority deposit token. Oh my God. And the wholesale Australian dollar central bank digital currency, led and orchestrated by HQLAx platform using tokenized assets. Everybody, the Australian Stock Exchange already has tokenized assets. That's crypto. The Australian Stock Exchange, they're doing this. They start with this repo, this interbank short-term lending, very short. Quito. The Australian Stock Exchange, the Central Bank of... Now, who works... Now, we got a little trick quiz here. Who went to work for the Australian Central Bank? What Ripple executive... Oh, here we go, everybody. Oh, we're tying it in. We're tying it in. Hold on. Who went to work for the Australia Central Bank and Government? Stephen Morris Drug Fund. Oh, my God. Stephen Morris, they're giving you money so you can go buy drugs. Or maybe they're donating money here. So YSN says, Hulk, were your high-speed motorcycle excursion before you went to the military or after I got out? Well, okay. In 1989, I had a 1986 FZ750 Yamaha motorcycle, and I was already getting in high speeds when I was about 19. Mainly on the Oakland 24 freeway. There was, now in Concord, California, there was an officer named Brandon Ritchie. He gave me tickets in my Trans Am, but he never was able to catch me on my motorcycle. Then there was on Highway 24 through Orinda, between Walnut Creek and Oakland, there's a city called Orinda, and that Highway 24. Oh, I'm getting a lot of high speeds on that one. There was an officer, a CHP officer out of the Golden Gate Division named Jameson. His last name Jameson. If you're out there, you know, that poor bastard could never catch me. He was kind of a heavy-set guy. Rode the Harley. And I'd never stop for him. Hell no. I got one ticket in a car from him. I was on my way to Oakland way back in the day, in the 90s. I was trying to get hired with Oakland police. And Jameson pulled me over on the way to the physical abilities test. He gave me a ticket. I'll never remember that fat fuck. And then I'd see him on his motorcycle, sometimes just blow right by him and say, come chase me, fat man. He never could catch me. All right, so that's my little history. And then when I was 48, I bought a Ducati, probably 2018. Bought a Ducati and started getting in high speeds again. That only lasted about a year. I got like 12, like one a month at least. That's not good. All right, let me focus. You're distracting me. Let's see. Now let's look at the deep dive for this. So there's Dilip Rao. Why did I show you that Dilip Rao? Because Ripple's built into the Australian Central Bank and all that. See what I mean? See, this is why all this is happening in Australia, because Ripple, Dilip Rao went there and hooked up the whole government and the banking system. All of this, HQLAx, JP Morgan Connexus, that's all on top of the XRP ledger. Now here's a little deep dive. This is all about Canton Network right here. HQLAx, let's look at this. It was founded in 2017 and 18 in Luxembourg. Oh man, Luxembourg, that's where the rich and powerful play, my friends. The HQLAx, all the people involved in this, they're ex-Goldman Sachs and BNY Mellon people. They're all the richest, most powerful banking people. Deutsche Börse, Distributed Ledger Technologies involved with this. That's all the stuff's Ripple, and all the companies we know of, they help get all this stuff going. This isn't just like Deutsche Börse doing this on their own. No, they're using all the stellar people. They're all working together. They're doing private projects and shit like that. Look, banks don't invent, they buy, okay? Banks buy, lease, whatever it is. They don't invent fucking blockchains. That's ridiculous. See right here, you got BNY Mellon's involved. That's a Ripple partner. They're all Ripple partners. BNP Paribas, Ripple partner. Clearstream and Euroclear. Those are probably early R3 Corda partners and shit like that with Ripple. JP Morgan's involved. Okay, so let's keep going through here. Let's see, Pure Play. Let me take, so the Australian Stock Exchange. In the beginning, you probably had R3 Corda and all that shit in there, but then a change happened. Canton Network was created because the R3 Corda just couldn't do what it's supposed to. It couldn't do what it do. Right here, what's the crypto involved? Well, we already talked about XRP and the Australian Central Bank and all that. You got Broadridge. Okay, asset. This is planned migration to the Canton Network. From April to May 2026 in Australia, they're merging all of this from R3 Corda to Canton Network. That's what we got going on right here. Let me read this a little more. They're talking about tokenized collateral, digital cash, atomic settlement, company history. Guido Stromer. One of the guys involved in this, his name is Guido Stromer. Okay. You got the Canton Network creators. You got Digital Asset involved in this as well. Digital Asset is a company that made the Canton Network. They're all mixed up in this whole this HQLA, which is tied into the Australian Stock Exchange. And Ripple's a partner and all this, and R3 Corda was the early partner. Okay, here's what it says. Initially, the HQLA and all this stuff initially was built on R3 Corda, okay? That's a permission DLT. Why? Because it demonstrated cross-ledger interoperability. Now, how did R3 Corda get that? Well, R3 was a Ripple partner. So R3 took the Ripple ledger with them when they split with Ripple because they used to be partners. But still, R3, that's the, you know, Ripple's never explained why R3 and Ripple split. My belief is that R3 just really couldn't get their shit together, and Ripple's like, enough. So it's a good program, it's a good platform, but it's just not going to work for what they wanted it to. So that's why they split right here. They're choosing Corda. Blockchain, it says here, initially built, HQLAx was initially built on R3 Corda, which is a permission distributed ledger technology. It demonstrates via Onera, O-N-E-R-A. Now, advancing, here's where the R3 Corda and all that XDC partnership, okay. Now, advancing migration to Canton Network. They're migrating. They're going bye-bye R3 Corda XDC. And they're moving to the Canton Network, which is a privacy-preserving, interoperable DLT infrastructure from Digital Asset as part of the Broadridge Digital Asset Strategic Investment. See, these big companies, they're all merging into Canton, not R3 Corda and that XDC relationship, okay? Just trying to show you right here. The banks involved in this, of course, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, HSBC, Standard Chartered, BNP, Citi. The biggest banks in the world are involved. Not a big deal. The market infrastructure, you got Deutsche Börse, Clearstream, FinTech, Canton Network, Finality, Adhara, Onera. They're all involved. Notice there's no R3 XDC relationship here. It's gone. Bye-bye. Adios, motherfucker. Additional context. Banks. U.S. broker-dealer. I'm just kind of cherry-picking this. This whole Canton Network, HQLAx and all that, it's designed to work alongside existing custody, tri-party, and settlement systems rather than replace them, okay? So this HQLA is going to be working with the current framework to make it all work. Not, you got to throw away that and go on our platform. Strategic minority investments. I think HQLAx is a leading battle-tested institutional DLT infrastructure provider specifically built for collateral mobility and tokenization. It provides powerful central bank level validation of its real-world applicability in wholesale tokenized markets with deep TradeFi integrations. Okay. Let me take a look here. I think... Okay, there is no XDC involvement here. Zero connections to XDC XinFin network or its native token. HQLAx has never integrated, piloted, or referenced XDC/XinFin in any public materials or trials. XDC operates in a separate trade finance, real world asset verticals. So it deals with trade finance, the XDC coin. Canton coin is the one here. And CBDCs, the Australian CBDCs are here. You are correct that the Canton coin will be used. It becomes the network level utility token once HQLA migrates to Canton. However, okay, that'll be enough of that article right there. Let me click out of that one. Check where we're at, 35 minutes. Hulk, how are all these tokens networks getting their on-chain BSA compliance? I have no idea. I don't get into that. What I do is I do research, and whatever information I give out, that's the information we have. Other questions, that's for somebody else to figure out. What I'm trying to do is see the connections, what cryptos are working here. I'm not personally trying to figure out how they get compliance. How do they? That's a technical question, which to me doesn't matter. I've shown you guys a lot. I got an iPhone. I use it all the time on my channel to make this phone and my other iPhone, which I don't see here at the moment, somewhere. That's a little concerning. But yeah, I don't know how these phones work. I don't even know all the features. I barely know how this phone works. And it works for me to run a successful channel. So I don't get into the BSA compliance stuff. Like it doesn't, I don't even know what that is. All right, let us go here to the next. Let us look up Stellar. Let's look at, we got an article on Stellar. Let's look here. This is another big industry move. Let's do a copy and a paste. Robert Driscoll says, pass the sweet sauce Hulk. Nap. Okay, here's this article here on a guy named Nap. He swaps the OCC for digital asset. There's a company called Digital Asset. They're the ones who made Canton. I want you to see what's going on with this Canton network again. Digital Asset has appointed a guy named Oberon Knapp. Oberon, that's his first name, Knapp, Knapp. Digital Asset, the company that made the Canton network, appointed Oberton Knapp as global head of equities. This guy goes from working for the office. I want you to see what's going on. Who does Canton hire? Who does the Canton network hire? This is something that should tell you something about Canton. This is not happening at R3 in the XDC world at all. This shows you how massive Canton's going to be in the future. Canton Coin hires the guy at the OCC for the United States. He controls all the banks. They bring him over to Canton. I could stop the article right there. Okay. That's not happening to R3 Corda, none of that XDC. Okay. Based in New York, he will lead the firm's institutional equity and derivatives market structure strategy. What are derivatives? All the money for Canton. All the money in the world. Derivatives are the biggest, all the money in the world. In addition, he will partner with lending and emerging financial institutions to build the next generation of capital markets on the Canton network. Oh my God, Crypto Hulk. In an online statement, Knapp says, I've spent 25 years building alongside many of you, working at the edges of capital markets in ways big and small that moved us forward. Now, the convergence of technology, regulation, and commercial appetite has unlocked a profound opportunity. The next generation of capital markets is waiting for us, and Canton Network is where that is happening. I'm telling you, everybody, this Canton thing is going to be the hugest. That's not even a word. I just made that up. It's going to be the hugest. The news follows Knapp's departure, from the Options Clearing Corporation. following 4 years with the firm. So it's not the OCC. They're calling this the OCC. From what we know, the OCC is Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. So this was incorrect. That's not really, they shouldn't really use that, those initials. So he's leaving the Options Clearing Corporation following 4 years there. Knapp first joined the OCC April 2022 as executive director of Participant Solutions in the securities lending firm, where he was responsible for developing the strategy and vision for the future. He's got 30 years across capital markets. Ooh, not bad. So I just wanted to show you that. He worked, I think, 8 years at State Street. That's huge. Oh, my God. So this guy's going, that's who works at Canton. This is why I'm showing you, like this Canton, it just keeps popping up. You get the brightest, the best, the most powerful, the biggest banks. Everything's, they're not going to R3 XDC. And I'm not saying get rid of any of your, see, I'm very clear. I'm very clear with what I say. You don't have to say, well, are you saying, no, if you think you don't understand what I'm saying, you got some kind of problem, mental health issues that I can't help you with. Because CryptoHawk, last time I checked, is really, really fucking clear. If he says something, you pretty much understand. So you shouldn't have to be like, well, what does that mean? Okay, you got a fucking brain in your head. You got a fucking brain, well, we hope. Unless you evolve from a monkey, then maybe you don't. But what we're seeing here are the biggest banks, the biggest companies in the world going to work and integrating into Canton, not R3, Corda, and XDC. That's all that I'm saying. I'm not saying anything about XDC. I'm not saying anything about R3. What I'm telling you is what's happening in the world. I don't know what's going on with R3 and XDC. Honestly, I don't. That's why I'm not talking about them. I don't know. I never see them in the news. If anything, companies are leaving R3 Corda, and we know that XDC is kind of tied right in there with them. But everything that I'm showing you here, they're leaving R3 and they're migrating to Canton. That's what I'm saying. I think what I'm saying is very clear. Alrighty then, let's go to the next article. What we got here? 18 minutes. It's going to be huge. Kind of just want to swap XLM for XRP. So I'm talking to a brand new CryptoHawk millionaire member. This dude's got like 167,000 XRP. And I'm like, man, must be nice. Must be nice. 167,000 XRP. I'm like, golly. What is that? $200,000 or something like that? And when that shit hits $3.80, I got to do the math. But how much was that, dude? I thought he said 67,000. Then I had him repeat it a couple times because I'm like, what? So if you have 167,000 XRP and times $3.80, son of a bitch, man. When XRP was out, that dude had this much money in XRP. That's like $600,000 in XRP. Son of a bitch. I tell you, it's and I like I hear it and I'm not jealous. It's just fun. It's fun to see that somebody's gotten over on the system. It's fun to see this guy was in there early buying this shit, man. For like a long time, like a year, 2 years, and it's just when I see that, I'm like, bravo. You're getting over on these fucking rich people trying to control all this shit. Congratulations. So I'm going to leave it at that. So it's just fun. I was like laughing when I heard it's like 167,000. I'm like, damn. Like, whoo-wee. Easy there, buddy. Easy there. I'm going to show you an article here. I'm not going to get into it. Let's do a copy and a paste. Right here, Central Bank of Iraq. So here's another thing what I do. I keep tabs on Iraq. Iraq is one of those countries that I believe where the starting of civilization came, the Garden of Eden, all that out of Mesopotamia, Iraq. My world's history, maybe not yours, my world's history came out of Iraq. And that country has a long, rich history of the Sumerians and how the aliens, and I don't want to get into all that cray. But I want you to listen to this. So this is what's going on in Iraq. Central Bank of Iraq. The Central Bank of Iraq is in talks with electronic payment providers. See, Iraq has got kind of a broken system, and they're trying to leapfrog forward into this world. Look, nobody's getting rich until this country is hooked up with the necessary crypto infrastructure. If the world were to take off, Iraq would be left behind. This will not happen. All of Africa, Iraq, they're going to get hooked up. Let's read real quick. It's a short article. The Central Bank of Iraq has held an expanded meeting in Baghdad with the managing directors of licensed, here we go, electronic payment and service provider operating in Iraq. According to the Central Bank of Iraq, discussions covered, listen, here we go. Iraq's getting hooked up right now. Plug and play. They're getting plugged in. Technical, administrative, and regulatory challenges facing electronic payment companies in Iraq. Future plans to improve financial services and what? Support digital transformation. Well. Looks like it's starting to go down over there in Iraq. Compliance with Central Bank of Iraq regulatory guidelines and instructions. Everybody, Iraq is getting hooked up. Just letting you know, this is exciting. Remember, nothing's taken off until this fucking country is running on crypto and blockchain with a stock, like just what I read about Australia and their stock exchange. Iraq's got to do the same fucking thing. So we're not even there yet. But what I'm showing you is what's happening. Okay, we're at the beginning stages now where this broke down country called Iraq is now starting to get all this advanced crypto infrastructure. This is how we all get rich. And I know we're kind of like this, man, this fucking takes so long. Gosh, man, what is taking so long? I know. But I'll tell you what, it's time to accumulate. I'm showing you everything that's going down. There's compliance with the Central Bank of Iraq regulatory guidelines and instructions, upgrading infrastructure and upgrading technical systems, putting them in line with what? International standards and best practices. There's initiatives in Iraq right now to enhance the safety, efficiency, and reliability of what? Digital financial services. Oh my God, Crypto Hulk. Now I'm going to cherry pick. I did a deep dive here, and we're not going to go over it because it's going to be a little painful. So I'm going to save you the pain. They're using Temenos. That's a Ripple partner. Let me look this up and show you. Why did that make that noise? Okay, never mind. James Deeb. Hold on. He said, this just in. Coinbase just confirmed Washington is accelerating crypto rulemaking immediately after the Clarity Act passes. And he's watching the show. James Deeb is not distracting me at all, of course. The $30 trillion US financial system is moving on chain. The bill isn't even signed yet, and Washington is already preparing for the next phase. There's a Coinbase guy right here, the CEO of Coinbase, telling us all this. I'm telling you guys, we're getting close. And it's time to accumulate. So here's the Temenos article. Let's do a copy and a paste. There's Temenos. Now I'm going to show you the deep dive here. I'm going to just look. Okay, so they talk about a QI card, a QI card. That is a leading national debit card platform. It has biometric verification. It was founded in 2007. They're going to integrate the biometric on the QI card. There's something called Zane Cash. Let me copy and paste this for you. We went over this before with Iraq. I like to keep up on. Hi, Hulk. Can't wait for the Cambib to come to England by Jove. Caleb and Brown, okay. C and B to come. They're working on it. Gordon Logan by Jove. And I like telling this story. I'm sitting there in Texas at a restaurant. We're having a meeting. I've got Caleb Brown and SwiftX there. To my right is the gentleman, the CEO for SwiftX. They bought Caleb Brown. And to my left was Mrs. Crypto Hulk. Across from me was the Caleb Brown people, and the SwiftX people were over there. And we're sitting there having a dinner meeting, and the CEO is like, name 3 things that Crypto Hulk fans really, really need and want. I'm like, United Kingdom to get hooked up, New York, staking. So that'd be like the top 3. And he basically is like, okay, we're going to get it done. I'm summarizing, and he didn't say it that exactly, but he was like, I'm going to do my best to get all this done. I was like, wow. Well, first of all, is this guy for real? But not that I doubted him. It's just, I've never heard a CEO just talking to some average guy like me saying, okay, yeah, we're going to work on this really hard and see what we can do. I'm like, whoa. I was impressed. I mean, Caleb Brown has been awesome. I'm happy to be working with them. I love the company. The people are just super great. Team players, for real, man. For a financial company and dealing with all these rich people, these people are really down to earth, real people. They're not all thinking they're better than everybody else. These are like real people working for these companies. Even the SwiftX, like Australia's biggest exchange. These people are team players, polite, helpful. I went into Masters of Organizational Leadership. I almost got a degree, I was on my way to go getting a doctoral degree in organizational leadership. So business. I've taken a test for the Veterans Administration. What do you call it? When you get injured in the military and shit, you go through this workforce training. So they had me take this test. It's kind of like a NASVAB, but not quite. But it measures what am I good at, and what will the Army pay me to go to school for. And it came out for me, security type work or business. And that's where I took 7 classes at National University. I took 7 classes there. The Army paid for it. And 4, maybe 5, but I'm going to say 4 out of my 7 professors said, you need to go to doctoral school because you're business. You are business. I'm like, what? Like, I'm just some guy taking a business class. And they said, no. You need to get a doctoral degree in organizational leadership. You will be a phenomenal CEO if you ever take that route. They said, what are you doing after you get done with the master's degree? Getting a job? I mean, is this a trick question or something? They're like, they said, Crypto Hulk, I think as your professor, I'm summarizing. I think as your professor, you need to go after organizational leadership and get a doctoral. Like you're a fucking dynamo when it comes to business. I'm like, really? Don't stroke my ego that much. But no, I decided not to take that route. And okay. Amber Hobson, any new word on when the CEO of CommBank will be on the show? I got to kind of keep that under wraps. So thanks for blowing it up there, Amber. No, I'm just told we're going to keep the little hush-hush here for the next few weeks. And let me just say, I got a little surprise for you. Jim's like, you need to shut up, dude. Shut up. I'm like, okay, I'll shut up. I'm locking my mouth up. I won't say any more, Jim. Don't get me in trouble. Okay, but no, we're working on it. So let me see where, lastly, I wanted to show you the evidence. There it is. So we got the QI card in Iraq. That's for digital ID, biometric verification. We got Zane Cash. Okay. We got the NASS wallet, NASS wallet. See, I want you to see what's going on right here. Now, this is digital, like a credit card's digital. Okay. What I'm trying to show here is this is digital, and they've already got a QI card. They've got a wallet, and then Zane Cash Company. Then they have Asia Pay and Fast Pay. I want you to see what it kind of sounded like they're getting close. What they're doing is they're getting their digital system hooked up first, then they're going to run the crypto. This is what's happening in Iraq, okay? This is important right there. You can see it's already kind of getting set up. And yeah, this QI card has nothing to do with crypto. Zane Cash has nothing to do with crypto. And that's what I'm not saying it does. I'm saying they're getting their digital system all hooked up. Remember, you could use a card for crypto in the future. They're getting everybody hooked up. Biometrics. What do we say? It takes 5 minutes. And these Iraqis can get all hooked up and everything. Now I'm going to show you. I'm going to try to find it in here where Temenos is the one. And that is Ripple. So give me a minute to cherry pick this. And I'm going to try to find where Temenos comes in. Zane Cash. Son of a bitch. Western Union. Okay, the people involved in this, Zane Cash, you've got Western Union, Visa. So that's Stellar and XRP right there. Let me copy paste that for you. There you go. Now somewhere in this motherfucker, you've got Temenos. Got it right there. Fucking got it. Okay, here we go. Here is the core stack. Here is your evidence, everybody. We talked about Western Union. I think that's Stellar, right? We talked about Visa. That's Ripple. Look at that right there. Core stack includes biometric verification with a Q card, NAS with the iris, the NAS wallet with the iris. I want you to see they're getting all set up for crypto. They're not hooking the crypto up yet right now. They're getting all the digital shit, getting ready for crypto. All right. There's ISO compliant switches. Oh, they're getting ready. Iraq's getting ready. I'm showing you right here. And it talks about Temenos right there. Zane Cash, which is not crypto, migrated to what? Temenos T24. And what article did I just show you here? Ripple friendly Temenos. Oh shit. Picked by Societe Generale Group To what? Modernize major bank in the Czech Republic. When this is hooked up with Temenos, you've got Ripple. You got Ripple in the banking system right there, everybody. There's your evidence right there. We just did it. In Iraq, okay? Just wait till WLD World ID. There you go. We just showed you the iris. That's all World Coin, okay? And that's Ripple. World Coins and early. I'm the one who showed you that evidence all the way back in 2013. I showed you guys. It's called World Dollar. You can go back to the old Crypto Hulk archives. Go back to 2023, somewhere around October. I uncovered all this stuff, and I did a whole show on World Coin. World Dollar is actually called. WLD was the token. It disappeared and then resurfaces now as World Coin. Crypto Hulk did the research, and I'm like, oh, no. That World Coin, that's Ripple. That runs on Ripple. It's called World Dollar. And it was designed to replace all the Federal Reserves around the world. That's a long history I'm not going to get into, but that's it. This show is over. I am done. There will not be a PM show today. I'll be back on my normal schedule tomorrow. I'll be home later on today. I'm kind of not at my house right now, but anyhow, I'll see you in the next broadcast, and happy Memorial Day.